My people, it's your girl Nabuguzi Kiwanuka, and this is Hashtag with Nabuguzi Kiwanuka, a forum where you and I have conversations on unraveling social constructs, discuss self-development in line with mental health, and a lot more about the millennial world around us. If you're not hearing my voice for the first time, welcome back to today's episode. Thank you so much for always considering to come back. And to you who is hearing my voice for the first time, I welcome you to these podcasts. Today, we are going to be talking about independence, what it really meant. I mean, last month, that was October, was the independence month of Uganda and Buganda, and Joy and I got some time together and we talked about everything surrounding independence. She's taking us into her understanding. She's going to take us into her understanding of what independence was like for her before now and what it is like for her now. We're going to get into what Buganda's independence and Uganda's and personal independence and everything in between means to her. Listen in. So today I have Joy Kezia Musisi. Please introduce yourself, our listeners.
My name is Joy Kezia Musisi. I removed the Mirembe, but I think after a lot of thought, I may get back to it and just scratch off the Joy and Kezia, because there's a lot of unlearning we're doing lately.
Yeah.
I'm a content creator, I'm a lawyer, most especially, that is what I pride in the most, but I'm also a content creator. I create content around marriage and relationships on YouTube, on Live, Laugh, Love with JK, that's my online space. But I also create content on Instagram. Most especially, I do IGTV videos that deal with parenting, personal life, real life talk. Yeah, and I think I'm going into therapy soon. So I'm a wife, I'm a mother, a daughter, a sister, and a very good friend.
For a lot of you in one person.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So you've talked about scrapping off the joy. I didn't even know you had scrapped off Mirembe. Did you do this officially, or is it something that you've been undoing socially?
I undid it socially.
Yeah.
Am I speaking the right thing? Undid? Okay.
I mean, you know what? One thing I'm trying to accept is the fact that words were created, so it's okay to create.
You know.
Because even these guys, we came from Doweth, word.
Yeah, we came from all that King James Version kind of English.
So I think words
just
just keep being created with time. So yes, you undid.
So I undid it. I've ever since I think I got married. Because I'm one person that really values marriage, and I value all the notions for which marriage stands, including being submissive, in the sense of taking on your husband's name, but also I want to do it legally in the next coming months, though the process is tiring. You know how Ugandan processes are. Then everywhere you go you'll have to move with an affidavit, and it's crazy, but I'm really giving it much thought to change it legally.
And the official change what are you looking forward to making the official name?
I guess it's going to be Mirembe Musisi.
Mirembe Musisi. Where are you doing away with Joy Kezia? I've
been inspired, by the way, by many people.
Yeah.
Pan-Africanists and monists these days. I've seen many women lawyers in Uganda scrap off their Christian names.
Yeah.
And I feel like this is what we should have done a long time ago. We do not find Chinese wanting to have Christian names.
Exactly.
He will be Chin Chong Lun, or I don't know. He's not trying to be a Mark or a David or a Sheila.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering why it is different for us as Africans. And yet, at the end of the day, if you go back in history, many countries were colonized by the British or the Portuguese or the French, basically by the nations we thought were powerful then.
Yeah.
But many of these people, in order to achieve what they've truly achieved after they got independent, is because they went back to being who they truly were. They went back to their heritage, to their roots.
Yeah.
And those are some of the things that help us to actually appreciate ourselves and build our self-esteem. Because I'm imagining, if you went somewhere and you went to a particular home,
Yeah.
and in that home that you go to, they don't allow you to speak. They make you eat what is okay. If maybe you have an option of choosing what to eat, but they don't let you take that option.
Yeah.
They don't let you say the conversation, partake in the conversation you want to partake in. Basically, you're like a prisoner. You're your own self, yes, but you're being imprisoned in that particular circumstance or surrounding that you're in.
You've talked about it you've talked about the Liu Ching Chong and Tao Mong and those Chinese that don't get to change their names, and you pointed at them attaining independence and looking back to where they came from. Speaking of independence, we have two independence celebrations. One of Buganda and then the Uganda's as a country. When you talk about independence, what do you understand by independence? What did you understand it as then? And what do you understand by independence right now?
Interesting. What did I understand it by independence then? I don't think I was in position because I was not here. But
no, I'm talking about maybe, let me see. This is 2020.
From growing up.
Not, I can't say from growing up, because growing up can be like your baby's age. When we were already independent, quote unquote. But I'm now looking at possibly 10 years ago. What was independence like in your head?
10 years ago, that was like 2010. Independence was still that public holiday, that school public holiday, where you don't get to do anything.
Yeah.
And you don't get to go to class. It was really just one of those public holidays you'd look forward to and just keep crossing your fingers it falls on a Friday. So I never even really gave it much thought. Matter of fact, would be this thing that would bore me, because when we left school and then had to be home, those were the days when you'd look forward to watching your favorite soap on TV, but it can't be on because there's independence celebrations.
Oh, right. I'd actually forgotten about the TV.
So you'd switch on the television, and the first thing you would see would be bands, a marching band, president inspecting the guard of honor. It would be, it would take place in a particular district, and then all you'd see would be the subscribers of the ruling party coming and praising the president for what he has done. Very few times would you hear, a comprehensive feed of what has been happening since 1962, and very rarely would you even hear the glitches or the things that have not been done. It would just be like one ceremonial function of praising what's going on and who is in power. So it never really made much sense to me. Not like I am one of those hardcore opposition kind of people, radical. No, I actually wouldn't care much for who's in power. But the issue is mostly, are they doing what they're supposed to do? Even if you've been in power 40 years, 50, 60, I would care less if you're doing what you're supposed to do. And if people are not sugarcoating their information around you and they don't have to be on their toes, then. So for me, independence then was always like that. But starting, I think, last year, I started to look at independence in a new light. I kept thinking, okay, we do celebrate these things. It's more than a public holiday now. What we really have is independence itself. What do we understand by it? The Union Jack was lowered, the Uganda flag was raised. But does that mean that everything Ugandan was raised or improved? Because we had a lot of, a lot of our culture, I grew up in a home where a lot of our culture was preached to the point that my parents sternly warned me that if I did not bring home a Muganda guy, being a Muganda, they would not attend my wedding. They would literally not want anything to do with my marriage. Now, of course.
When did this happen?
Friend, I think I was like 6, from like way back. Yes. So that I don't make a mistake at some point and say, oh, you told me late. No.
How are you even thinking
at the age where your sex education is supposed to start from, that is where my marriage talk began from. My parents made it very clear that I should be married at the age of 25 because to them they believed.
When did...
Yes. And actually I got married at 25. But they always made it clear that at 25 you have just finished school. But you're not an overachiever yet.
Okay.
So you get a guy that likes you for who you are. They're not trying to scheme for your money. They're not trying to be threatened by, you know how African situations are where men get threatened by literally everything. So they're not threatened that you have a master's or a PhD. You're just at the right age, the one they would call the ripe age. But then most importantly, they said this man must be Muganda. Growing up now, I understand and I really appreciate them for that kind of talk.
Yeah.
Is it racist? Tribalistic. Tribalistic as it sounded back then.
Yeah.
I understand it now. Brings me back into the light of independence. Being married to a Muganda helps me appreciate the fact that I can speak my language freely at home without having to translate or without having to look for a unifying language, which would now be English.
Yeah.
It makes me feel truly independent that I do not have to use a white man's language to try and communicate something in my own home. It enables the fact that we can share, we can have the same customs without feeling like one degrades the other.
And we have to find a middle
ground. Because let me give you an example. I think people from the West, I'm not sure if all of them or some of them do not kneel down when greeting. Now, in case you married a girl that is from the West, you as a husband, you will understand her. Maybe your immediate parents will understand her. But now at that point where you take her to your village in Kanaba, Ochanamukaka, and she does not kneel down, then they say,
they find trouble. There's some sort of friction
how did he marry such a girl without respect? But they will not ask questions, does she do this in her culture? But even her, if she decides to pretend and do it just for the sake of pleasing you, pleasing your culture, then she will not feel good about it because to them it would be a sort of degrading...
It's a conquest of some kind.
So it really helped me understand how marrying someone of the same tribe is actually important. So still in the light of independence, now being married, starting my own home, having a child, now opened my eyes to this whole thing. I said, okay, well, for us, our parents tried their best. But are we doing enough? Is our generation doing enough? And this was sparked off actually. This kind of conversation was sparked off when recently a lady walks up to me. The audacity, someone I don't even know.
Really?
If it was family or friend, it would be okay. Because I would maybe tell them there and then the reasons why I do what I do. But I don't know you. I've never seen you anywhere. She comes up to me and says, why do you speak to your child in Uganda?
Where were
Your child is going to be local. We were in the market.
Really?
So I'd packed, and because she was being fussy, I came out with her and we stood at a stall. And then I told her to kwata nyanya z'abandi. And this market woman had the audacity.
It was a vendor?
Yes. She said, lwaki oyogera n'omwana mu Luganda? Omwana tajja kumanya Luzungu. And because previously, why I used the word local is because previously the people that had said it used those exact words, like your child will be local. But then I didn't know what to say to her at the moment because it baffled me. But then I just told her, she will learn English from school. I purchased what I was to purchase and I walked away. And so I kept thinking, our generation hasn't done enough, because if people still think that English is a measure of intelligence, is a measure of success, is a measure of knowledge, then why are we independent? That is all that we have. Our clothes have been taken over. We wear everything white. Matter of fact, what is trendy is American or British. We moved on from food. It's rare that you'll find someone going to a restaurant, except on a day when you're really, really hungry, because it's only African food that can give you a good, a good satisfaction.
I think all of them do. Come on.
But you'll find people who go to restaurants, the first thing they ask for is fast food. I want a hamburger. I want chips. This is the first thing
on a day when you're not hungry. You're like really, really hungry.
When I'm really hungry? Oh! Okay. Posho. Chinyewa.
I don't just get chinyewa from anywhere. I don't like chinyewa from restaurants. I don't trust people. That particular sauce it's very delicate, so very many people don't know how to prepare it. I don't do that in restaurants.
You're like my mom. She actually, for her, it's not even about restaurants, but she just doesn't buy pre-processed
even in people's homes.
She wants to pound them herself. Because she says maybe the machines are rusty and she does not trust it at all. So
I'm not that bad. I'm not like her. I'm not like her.
But well, me, I wouldn't mind anywhere. But it's really African food that can give you that nice satisfaction. Then maybe after eating and drinking some water, then I can go and get a plate of chips and soda just to water down the Africanness of the food. Joy. No, seriously.
That is a second helping.
Because I wouldn't want to still have the taste of beans in my mouth the whole time.
That is, you're buying 2 plates of food, Joy. That's not even.
But I come to think of it, it's so funny. But imagine.
Have you done that?
I always do that. No,
oh my goodness.
I keep imagining, what if at one point I get like a stomach upset and I throw up somewhere and all I'm throwing up are beans, but okay, grins.
See, we're decolonizing that.
I want to throw up bougie stuff. Anyway, truthfully, our food has been taken over. Our dressing has been taken over. Our way of life generally. You will not find many people in town wanting to maybe go somewhere and farm. Okay, right now it's a bit bougie. People do it to just feel important or rich. Oh, we have a farm somewhere.
For economic purposes, actually.
Some people don't even do it for economic purposes. It's really for, we have a farm somewhere, so people look at you like you're responsible adults.
Okay.
But you will not find someone saying, oh, I've actually gotten a hoe and I'm going to go and dig and plant my own sweet potatoes or my own matoke. No. They've taken over our education system. What we have mostly is our formal education. It is school. Children are in the shuttle at 6 a.m. Their faces are plastered on the windows, sleeping, dozing, 6 a.m. because they have to go to school, nursery children. And they have a particular way of studying and they're out of school. Parents don't even have time for informal education anymore. You will not find your children, you won't take your child for a sleepover and they come back and tell you, Mommy, Auntie told us about Chintu Nambi or Njabala. No! They're going to be telling them, if they tell them stories, if they get that time to even tell them the stories, because most parents are on their phones, their tablets, on YouTube videos. Bless the Lord for my subscribers. Thank you. Please do not stop watching. But seriously, that is what...
There's a point when you feel like you're shooting yourself.
Yeah, that's what parents are really doing now. So, if they get the time to even tell them stories, they're going to tell them Little Red Riding Hood,
Snow White.
Like, nobody is even talking about our African real heroes and heroines in our storybooks and our fables.
We're not exposed to that.
But we don't even know them.
Exactly, we're not exposed to that because you talked about the education system. I am really sickened by whatever we have in our education system. Recently, I found my P7 SST book, and the very first page, they were talking about how Vasco da Gama discovered Africa.
Discovered it from where? From what?
I was like,
did he like pull an island out of the ocean and place it and say, Africa, here you are?
I actually opened the book again this morning. I was like, maybe I saw it wrong. Like there could be where it came chronologically, but this is the first page of a class. People want to know, the children possibly. Okay, as kids we don't really want to know our history. These are things we find in class, and they're talking about if they're talking about Africa, where you hail from, and they're telling you that it's a white man who discovered you. Everything that comes with even the history that we study. But then when you look at Nambi and Chintu, we only had that class in P2.
Yep.
Only in P2.
Yep.
And that was it. We don't know how far Walumbe has gone. Maybe the people that go for the trips and then they tell them, they go to is it Mitiana?
I think it's in
yes.
Mitiana.
And then they hear more stories. But these are things that are not even covered in class. This is just a trip. I'm wondering if the schools in the west or east also cover Chintu and Nambi. Because in the east, the Gishu have Sarah and
Mundu.
Are you serious?
Yes.
It's Mundu?
Yes.
Who is Masaba then?
Masaba was a son. Something
sure?
like that, but it's Sarah and Mundu.
You're better than I am. I want
but you know the name even just rolled off my, like, it's how bad it is. We literally cram these things just for the purposes
of passing exams.
If I went to the east, I'm not sure I'd be asking about Sarah and Mundu. I'd be taking selfies on Mount Elgon, trying to hike. I'd be going to Ginger to bungee jump. I'm not even interested in who was in their caves or who lived there.
Yeah.
So much of our education system has been put on a pedestal of passing examination. If you're good, a child who's going to be a future banker will get 4 in P7.
Yeah.
But if you go back, if you as they grow, if you take them back and ask them if they really understood what they studied or if they really appreciate it, no.
Yeah.
And one other thing that actually has opened our eyes so much, especially in this coronavirus, is, you know how we had that whole system of a proper laid out syllabus, and first term, second term, third term, it runs from this date to this date, and this is what children must study in this particular time. And then we were seeing children in the West actually being, most schools in the West, I mean the Western world.
Yeah.
And the Eastern world. Most of these schools were not even bothered by the virus. Why? Parents have learned to homeschool their children. They have learned to have study groups. They have unlearned the whole indoctrination they put in us of taking children to school by all means to study a particular thing.
Yeah.
And more so even before going, unlearning the whole thing of terms and schedules and going to school itself, they were already steps ahead in terms of specializing their children's education.
Or even not necessarily having to go to school. I mean, you see kids as young as 4 going to football academies, music schools,
exactly.
Drama schools, and the kid actually. Okay, we're not attentive as parents. Also, let's not.
It's not like we're not attentive. One, Africans with Africa. I don't know. I don't know if I'm speaking for everyone or I'm just speaking from what I see. But for starters, Africans are afraid.
Yeah.
They always want to fit in. So if the education system in Uganda is as such, P1 to P7, blah, 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 they want to fit in. They're afraid to venture into newer stuff. 2, Africans are poor.
The unknown is scary. Yeah.
Then Africans are poor. They start calculating the cost of taking a child to a football academy, to a music school. They're like,
You know, that's not a recognized profession as well, because people want to, as the way how you said it, fit in. Ninayolo, yeah.
My child is an accountant, but there's
Right.
something the point is. People don't want to hear my child is a fashion designer.
What is that?
They will say, like that is what people think. People think.
Not even I'm senior for. It's mostly a thing of academic failing.
Yes.
And like, ooh,
the other day I was watching
Ghana.
BBC.
Yeah.
And there was this lady. She was 90 years old, a white lady, and she was doing the most amazing pottery work I have seen my whole life.
Oh yeah.
I'm still old. I swear. This lady would mold a pot from scratch, from clay.
Yeah.
And then she molds like maybe people or objects, and then she plasters them there. But even the art with which she would plaster it, I don't even know how to explain. If an African, there's so many Africans with such skills, but if an African came out to do this, let me use Ugandans because that's what I know best. If a Ugandan came out to do this, they would look at you and say, "Now
you're a failure.
Did math refuse? Was it biology you couldn't do? Even simple history you didn't do." Like,
right.
We have gotten to a point where, and bringing me back to this pandemic and how it has affected some of the things that we thought were it and now they're no longer it, is because when we went to school, we thought we would be important people in society. You're a lawyer, you're an important person in society.
Yeah.
And then when they were listing down essential workers, you didn't even come close, honey. You didn't even come close.
We were finally recognized somewhere.
The people that were essential, of course, apart from medical workers, it's very important.
Journalists.
The people that were important were people that actually providing the services that we ignore. The cleaners, the vendors, the farmers. Those are the essential workers. And then psychologically, mental health experts all of a sudden became very essential workers. Therapists, counselors. People were going through really hard times, rough patches. And that is when the people we thought really had nothing going on. You will wonder, why do you think that it's around this time that YouTube channels, podcasts, online activities blew up?
You're right.
People needed to hear something. The way that life is, because people go to work every day and they're always busy, they don't get the time to focus on what they really feel inside. It sort of buries the emptiness.
Yeah.
And now because there was nothing to do,
they
the
actually
emptiness was out there.
That they're supposed to be doing something.
Suicide rates went up in a spike. Broken homes in a spike. Social degeneration, defilement of children, rape.
A girl
back to independence. So,
yeah,
some of those things that I feel that we should look at and really consider as a generation that is raising children now, as a generation that is mentoring young people. You may not have kids, but you'll have nephews, nieces, neighbors.
Yeah.
Neighbors'
kids. I fall in that category of neighbors' kids.
We should really normalize keeping our heritage alive. It's all that we have.
Oh yes, we should really normalize keeping our heritage alive. You have come to the end of part 1 of A Perspective on Independence. If you have found value in this episode, I'd appreciate a rating on whatever platform that you're using to listen. Or better yet, tell a friend about the show. Share the link that you've used to follow up with this conversation. Share it with friends. Go tell it on the mountain that there are good things happening down here on Hashtag with Nabuguzi Kiwanuka. I look forward to engaging with you in part 2 of this conversation. I remain yours truly, Nabuguzi Kiwanuka. Ciao.